we're about 2/3 of the way empty. Let me just drain it, if I may.
Please.
Now, this is empty.
This being?
This being the bottle is now empty. And the residual propofol, because air can still go in, the residual propofol is flowing down the line. And it will continue flowing until virtually all of it is in the bottle, others on the floor. Okay, it's pretty much run through. And you can see the bottle is now empty.
And could you then take the spike out of that 100 ml bottle?
Yes?
And that bottle is slightly different shape than People's 30, correct?
Correct.
And then as you've disassembled the propofol line, then what would be remaining would be a saline bag and the saline line, as well as the short tubing beyond the Y port through which propofol ran.
Correct.
And what is in your hand then would be what I refer to as the propofol tubing, the tubing that had the propofol going straight from the 100 milliliter bottle.
Correct.
And connecting to the Y port of the saline line.
Correct.
And this tubing then that you just disassembled, and I'm holding it, it fits into the palm of my hand, Dr. Shafer?
Yes.
Okay. And this would then include, this would be the tubing, again, just to be clear, through which the propofol ran completely from the bottle into the saline line.
Correct.
Okay.
Now, Dr. Shafer has sat down and he's got the bottle with the propofol and some water, right?
Right.
Yes. And I will see that it's disposed of, sir.
Your Honor. May he take his seat?
Please, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Thank you.
And this line that I'm holding, what we call the propofol line, this has actually this larger plastic component because it's actually designed for an infusion pump.
Correct.
If a different type of line had been used in this case by Conrad Murray, this could have been balled up even smaller. Is that correct?
Correct.
And would easily fit in your pocket, for example?
Yep.
Dr. Shafer, I want to just ask you just a few more questions regarding the testimony we've heard from you beginning last week and the last couple days. You have shown us the standard of care, in your opinion, and the deviations from the standard of care. You noted 17 separate egregious violations, 4 of which you found to be unconscionable, as you described earlier.
Yes.
You showed us the video in which you demonstrated the safe and proper means to administer sedation.
Yes.
And it's your opinion that those safeguards and that equipment is necessary even if the physician, any physician, intends on administering just 25 milligrams of propofol?
Yes.
You have explained to us why it is impossible that Michael Jackson died as a result of orally swallowing propofol?
Yes.
You discussed lorazepam, and you concluded that Michael Jackson received more than the 4 milligrams of lorazepam that Dr. Murray claimed to have given Michael Jackson?
Yes.
And you also rejected the notion that certainly at 10 o'clock a.m. that Michael Jackson swallowed 8 2-milligram tablets of lorazepam?
Yes.
And you would broaden that window to 4 hours, meaning between 8 and noon, based on what was found in the stomach, it was impossible that Michael Jackson swallowed that amount of lorazepam.
Correct.
And you've demonstrated the simulation here of how one would infuse propofol with this type of setup and with some of the evidence recovered in this case?
Yes.
And that the infusion line with propofol in it could be compacted into the fist of my hand?
Yes.
And again, taking all the evidence that you've reviewed and all the deviations from the standard of care, you concluded that Conrad Murray was not only a substantial factor, but a direct cause of Michael Jackson's death?
Yes.
And just to be clear, had all this transpired as relayed by Dr. Murray, and again, subsequent to that, had Michael Jackson either injected propofol and or swallowed lorazepam tablets, is it still your opinion, Dr. Shafer, that Conrad Murray was a direct cause, not just a substantial factor, but a direct cause of Michael Jackson's death?
Absolutely.
And why is that?
That is because
Repetitious.
Has it been asked and answered?
He said.
Not in that exact way, no, Your Honor.
It was asked 3 times
Please.
yesterday.
Well,
You may answer.
in terms of the phraseology, it's different. You may answer.
could you repeat the question?
Had I asked you to assume, regardless of your opinion, I want you to assume additional facts, and that is that Michael Jackson swallowed oral lorazepam, swallowed tablets of lorazepam, and or self-injected propofol after the drugs that were administered by Conrad Murray that he admits to giving. And it's your opinion that Conrad Murray will still be a direct cause of Michael Jackson's death, correct?
Yes.
And why is that?
That's because he is a physician who has brought propofol into the room, started an intravenous, and provided access to propofol to a patient who may in fact be developing a dependency on sedatives. And he has been entrusted by Michael Jackson to look after his safety every night. And he has failed that responsibility while enabling the administration of intravenous propofol. He is responsible for every drop of propofol in that room.
And the lorazepam?
Every drop of lorazepam in that room.
And that's because Conrad Murray set up the situation that existed when Conrad Murray abandoned the patient.
Yes.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Ms. Wogan, thank you. May I see counsel? Four p.m. update, ladies and gentlemen. You always get good news from me. We have another scheduling-related matter tomorrow. I just became aware of it as we were chatting, and because of that scheduling issue, your services will not be required until the early afternoon. We do want to give you lunch, so you can look forward to it. So I'm going to ask that you join us at 11:45 a.m. So hopefully you can take care of some other matters, or maybe sleep a little longer, because you're very early risers, I know, some of you. Really early, like tonight. Your services will be required at 11:45 a.m., and you'll be getting lunch. And we're going to resume at 12:45 for purposes of the trial and cross-examination and further proceedings in this case. I did not understand until just a few moments ago that there was a scheduling issue, and it's a significant scheduling issue, and the parties agree that with that in mind, we simply are not able to start in the morning. So, again, your services are required here at 11:45 a.m., and you certainly can talk to the transportation folks. They'll take care of you as well. And the court itself is going to be in recess until 12:45 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. Please bear in mind all of these admonitions at 4 p.m., and, of course, follow them unhesitatingly. Do not discuss this case among yourselves or with anyone else, or form or express any opinions about the case until it's submitted finally to you. Do not visit any scene or location that may have been referenced, mentioned, or involved in the case. Do not perform any experiments, or on your own or through another person, conduct any investigation or research regarding any topics, subjects, or persons mentioned or involved in the case. Don't come into contact with any television or radio programs, newspaper or magazine articles, or books regarding any of these topics, subjects, or persons. Do not access on your own or through another person any internet site, including any search engine sites, certainly not limited to Google, Ask, or Bing, or social network sites, including but not limited to MySpace or Facebook, or text or tweet anything about these subjects, or access any blogs or post any messages on any sites whatsoever. Please don't have any contact, directly or indirectly, with the defendant, the attorneys, the witnesses, or the spectators. Do not allow anyone to contact or communicate with you about any of these types of matters. And if anyone attempts to do so or wants to get your attention so that at a later point in time you may contact a person or an organization regarding any aspects of this case, immediately cease any such encounter and immediately report such an encounter to the members of the court's staff. And please review at your leisure the written admonitions which I gave to you some time ago. Do all of you continue to understand, assure us, and promise us you will follow these obligations? All indicate in the affirmative. Ladies and gentlemen, have a good one. We'll see you tomorrow, and thanks again for your patience.